216-578-1007 if you want to join us live on the phone. 800-348-1007. 35192 to send me a text. Who's helping out at AlanCoxShow.com today? Libby Dubjub. Hey, thanks so much. I don't know if that's short for Elizabeth or Libertine or I don't know. But sir or madam, thank you so much. Liberace from the Medina Dubjubs. Mm-hmm. Libby Dubjub. Hey, thanks. Appreciate your assistance as always. Guardians lose in Chicago last night to the White Sox, 8-3. That is what they call in the business as a drubbing. But they'll play them again tonight, 8:10 from Guaranteed Rate Field. Wrap the series tomorrow in the afternoon, 2:10 here on MMS. And then they'll go to New York to face the Mets. Justin Verlander getting booed by the hometown crowd. When I was on in Detroit for many years, Justin Verlander was still the pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. He's married to Kate Upton, whose uncle is a former senator from Michigan and signed a big fat deal with the Mets. And so far, he's not winning them over. But the Mets, Guardians will play the Mets this weekend, and then they'll come home to host the White Sox, and I will have those tickets for you in about a half an hour. 4 tickets for the afternoon game in that series. So anyway, 2-night, short story long, 8:10, Guardians White Sox from Chicago here on MMS and on the iHeartRadio app. San Antonio Spurs get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. In the lottery, everybody's laser focused on a French kid named Victor Wembanyama. 19 years old. He's supposed to be the next big deal. And since the Spurs got the number 1 pick, they're expected to grab him. They're calling him the biggest prospect since LeBron James. Now, you might recall, that's what they called Zion Williamson. And I don't know that he's exactly setting the world on fire right now. He's kind of been injury prone.
Yeah, he's been injury prone.
His weight kind of yo-yos.
Mm-hmm. That was the thing with Zion. I always thought he was an incredible athlete, but could his body withstand the way he plays? And so far, it hasn't.
He's kind of built like Shaq, isn't he?
He's real thick. He's not as tall as Shaq, and it's just with his explosiveness, it just takes a toll on his body. Whereas this Wembanyama guy, 7'4", I think he's got like a 7'11" wingspan.
He's a reed. I mean,
he's skinny, so that actually plays better for your joints and stuff like that. It's, there's still, any player can still develop injuries, but you're just hoping that he is durable. That's one thing I don't think LeBron gets enough credit for, is he's got a 20-year career, and he's had some injuries that have kept him out of games, but it's never been like one major injury that took him out for like a whole season or anything like that. He's really kept his body
even if you're
in
just
top shape.
I mean, even if you're just some mook playing pickup basketball, right? Let's say you're in really good shape and you're playing. I'm just fascinated that these guys are. There's no way to predict night after night after night how you might land a certain way that might hurt you, or how you might turn a certain way that might hurt you. And so any of these guys that have long careers where they haven't had major injuries is amazing to me. I mean, they keep themselves in good shape, obviously, but anything could happen. You have these guys who are like, oh, he tore his Achilles tendon or whatever, and they're out for a whole season. So the NBA lottery was held in Chicago. The draft order was revealed on ESPN, and the chairman of the Spurs thought he was going to faint. They were so excited. Number 2 goes to the Charlotte Hornets from Charlotte, Michigan, I believe. The Portland Trail Blazers get 3rd, and the 4th to the Houston Rockets. Victor Wembanyama plays professional basketball in France. And he told ESPN, my heart is beating. Maybe there was something lost in translation there, but "Me cœur est bité." I don't know what he said, but it probably sounds similar to that. So if you're let's say you're a displaced San Antonio Spurs fan living in the hinterlands of Northeast Ohio, and you feel, because who would care around here, you feel like maybe you can't skip down the street with excitement. I'm here to tell you, you can. This kid is 7 feet 3 inches tall, like Bill said, 8-foot wingspan. He plays for the Metropolitans 92. Greatest names. You think we got some bad names over here in the States. I love the names of sports teams around the world. I mean, Japan's kind of got it nailed down because they've got like the Yokohama Steel Dragons and things like that. But if you're playing for a team that's like the Metropolitans 92, yeah, it's a big deal over there. But come over here and play for the Spurs. You have to explain to them what a spur is. Well, you know, cowboys used to get their horses going, you'd really give them a kick in the haunches there into the side, and that would get them going.
I think there's a popular soccer team that says the Spurs too. So
okay,
that
overseas, you mean?
Yeah, overseas. But I think that's a great situation for him.
There's Tottenham Hotspur. Is that who you're thinking of?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I think him going to San Antonio, that's a team that has had a lot of success in the past. Popovich is a great coach. He's probably near the end of his career, but that's a good way for him to go out, having Victor Wembanyama for a couple seasons.
And by the way,
and then I'm hoping the way it goes is Tim Duncan takes over for Pop.
He's going to be able to kind of have a little kibitz with Giannis Antetokounmpo about what it's like to come from overseas and live and work in a mid-market sports town. That'll be a lot of fun for him.
Well,
he can talk to Giannis about Milwaukee, and they can trade stories.
I'm hoping Giannis tells him how to get a bank account or how to handle his money, because there's a story about how Giannis, when it was just a couple years ago, he kept maxing out the bank accounts that he could have. And so he had like 20-something bank accounts because he didn't know where to put his money.
Oh, he was opening like consumer bank accounts rather than getting a financial advisor.
Right.
I thought they gave these guys training on that stuff now. They certainly give them social media training. That's the important thing. Hey, don't retweet Nazi memes. I know you're not from here, and over back home, that might be
but that's not
enough
even
to get the lulls.
Foreign players doing that. It's Kyrie doing that.
Yeah, I was reading something about how the Arizona Coyotes might have to move because it's a Phoenix team, but they play out of Tempe, I think, and they were our bureau chiefs out there could get me more hip to the details, but I was just kind of scanning the story, and I think that they were hoping the city would give them a new arena, and the city balked. They voted it down, and so now they're like, oh, you know, because you can overextend yourself if you go to the press or you make it very, very known. If you say you're going to pull that, give us a new stadium or we move trigger, you better make sure it doesn't bite you in the ass. Because if it doesn't go your way, then you're standing with your pants down. So there's rumors that the Coyotes might go to Salt Lake City, which, I mean, I don't know what the hell that means. Alan, please tell Bill that my wife and I may need to cuddle with him tonight. It's going to be windy. Bill is hosting our sophomore outing of the Cleveland Funny Bus, which was a great time last week. Every Wednesday in May, we're doing this with the Alan Cox Show. Cleveland Funny Bus.
We'll keep each other warm.
Yeah! It starts and ends at Collision Bend there in the Flats. Tonight is sold out. In the weeks to come, if you want to get tickets to join us, I'll be your host again next week. You can go to funnybus.net for all the details. I would recommend either before or after, because you can take a pop on the bus with you. I would recommend the Collision Bend chocolate peanut butter porter. Ooh. And I'm no beer guy, but I likes what I likes. And that was pretty good. So if you're looking for a soft wreck from AC, there it is. We got some sperm news here for you. Sperm news! Oh, so much information that's out there. It's hard to just kind of get your mind around it and collate all of it.
In the past week, there have been 17 arrests or convictions of adults accused of having sex with children. Of those 17, 14 were pastors or youth pastors at Christian churches. One was the husband of a youth pastor. One, a police officer. None were drag queens.
I'll tell you what, it is the... They're trying to make sure that those drag queens aren't grooming our children. The clergy standing right there in front of them practically screaming what's going on. Here at home, by the way, they did a big old bust out there in Westlake, or North Olmsted, I'm sorry. You know, they scoop up people from all over the place, between sex tourists and just local dudes looking to get some. They had another one of these sting operations. It used to be you knew that they were picking up a bunch of guys who were trying to get hookers. Now it's all called sex trafficking stings, which to me always makes it sound like these were people trying to bang kids. But usually they just are getting dudes who are there to get hookers. And you'll always get a couple of superstars in the mix. I don't know what the operation was called this time either. That's what I like. I like the names of the operations, you know? Operation, I don't know.
Woolly Bear.
Operation Woolly Bear yielded a dozen men who were out. But you'll always get, this one got about 9 or 10 guys who were arrested. Part of a human trafficking sting in North Olmsted, conducted by the Northeast Ohio Human Trafficking Task Force, or NOTAF, and other agencies. But there's always a couple of superstars. This time around was the guy who used to be the superintendent of the Westlake school system.
Hey.
And is currently, well, probably not anymore, currently the executive director of some local foundation. This was a guy who had been named Superintendent of the Year back in 2013. And he was out there trying to get his wick dipped. So they scooped him up. He had been recognized by the Buckeye Association of School Administrators, or BASA, as Superintendent of the Year. I imagine you immediately lose whatever your current job is there. And then, kind of a rogues gallery of other people, a couple of guys in their mid-50s. I think this time around the youngest guy was 30. A lot of times they'll pick up at like a couple of 18-year-old dudes. One guy from Royal Oak, Michigan. They come from far and wide to sample Northeast Ohio's sexual wares. And you can't blame them for that. Work that into the tourism. Legalize it, to quote the great Peter Tosh, and then tax the hell out of it. And then you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. Then you can work it into part of the tourism. Right? Ohio, the heart of it all.
You've heard of the funny bus. Now get on the...
the Northeast Ohio Bang Bus. Who knows?
I was going to still keep with the Fs.
Oh, that would work too. The Fudgy Bus. Yeah. So congratulations to Dan Keenan, the former Superintendent of the Year out there at Westlake Schools. Perhaps at some point you were matriculating at one of his properties. He got scooped up in this whole thing.
Alan, I have a question.
A registered sex offender, two other people registered sex offenders already, and another middle school teacher were among the people who were arrested. Yes?
I have a question. How come these stings are just targeting men?
I don't know that they are. But it's usually the guys who are out there trying to take advantage of trafficked women. Isn't that the case?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You think there should be like a reversal
where's
of
the
fortune?
reverse ones? Yeah. Well, how come they're never...
I don't know that
Is
there
it
are a lot
because
of
it's not
women
really
running out
a
to
thing?
Motel 6s
Yeah.
to find. Yeah. Maybe because it's not a thing. I mean, I don't know. I would defer to Poundcake on this. Are there man whores out there like OG Deuce Bigelows that are... you have your ear to the ground on any kind of community like that? Or they're just not getting enough attention, but they're out there luring in suburban soccer moms to the XL Inn?
Oh, see, you're talking about like straight guys that are of use to like straight women. No, I don't know any of those.
Okay.
Mary, how many of your lady friends pay men to have sex with them?
None that I know of.
Yeah. No, they don't have to.
Yeah, it's
Probably too
pretty,
ashamed to tell anyone.
Pretty easy for us.
Yeah, it really is. All you have to do is your hair.
Right.
Cleveland D, I feel like you would want to get some abroad D for that. Like when you want to go on vacation or you go to Miami.
That's nothing to call a lady.
When you go to Miami, when you go to New York or Chicago or LA, you want to taste the city a bit, so I can understand.
You know those cities aren't abroad, right?
They're not in Cleveland.
Yeah, they're
That
not.
makes
I
them
see.
abroad.
Gotcha. All right.
Not abroad.
I thought you meant overseas.
Well, that too. I would want to taste the city, and I will want some.
Yeah, but overseas, you got to be real careful. I mean, over here, human trafficking, if you get a good enough lawyer to just get you off the hook,
But that's the thing. It's not
over there, you might end up with minus a hand.
But it's not human trafficking. Well, there is human trafficking. I'm not going to say that. There is human trafficking everywhere. But these are like brothels where people are tested multiple times a day, and it's like
Yeah, you mean where it's legal.
where it's legal. Like, why on earth would you be in human trafficking sting overseas when it's legal? Like, you're like, dude, you went to the wrong place. Next door, there's a brothel. Like, oh, my bad. Like, now you got to go to jail abroad.
Right. Well, that's why people in Amsterdam are up in arms, because they're trying to move their famous red light district. They're trying to move it to the outskirts of the city.
My friend went
And
there.
it's like,
crazy.
guys, it's going to be tumbleweeds through the streets of Amsterdam if you do this. Why do you think if you're not over there to smoke hash, you're over there to get some gash? That's part of their tourism over there.
European culture.
Hash and gash. What?
European culture is so crazy because just like when people work part-time jobs in college here to pay for their school, over there, they just have like 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old prostitutes. And they're like, this is just my part-time job to get me through school. I'm like, you're a hooker part-time?
Well, there are girls who dance
I'm
over
talking
here
about
to
men
pay.
too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying like that, you're a stripper. You're not, I mean, that's more like an acting job where you're a waitress that just happens to go nude. There's a lot of strippers that won't show full boob or won't show, full vagina. These, you're doing stuff on the side and it's prostituting. It's just a different culture. I'm not like shaming it, but I'm like, that's wild.
Yeah, you're an escort.
And now the culture now over here is there's some guys that have OnlyFans to pay for their school.
Yeah. That's why, when I was talking to stripper Scott earlier, I was talking about that strip club in L.A. becomes the first in a long, long time. Not the first ever, but the first in a long time to unionize. The attorneys representing the owners of the Star Garden Topless Dive Bar agree to recognize the union. Now, usually what happens is just to take it out of the courts, these companies will go, fine, we'll recognize the union, and then they fire everybody, right? So there's a couple of days of, we did it, because there's so much work, whether you want to unionize as Amazon employees or Starbucks, they go, fine, you can do a union. And then they bust the union by just firing everyone. But the first stripper union out there, which, good for them. I saw Tom Morello was out there picketing with him a few weeks back, too. So he was out there showing his solidarity with the L.A. strippers.
He's doing his part, man.
Yes. So they've got a new CBA now, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
That's a coochie and booby agreement.
Hey.
Pipe Grabbers Local 250, I believe, is who will be representing. No, but strippers work hard, man. They work hard. And you got to give it up to them. I mean, they always have, but it seems like in the age of OnlyFans, stripping in a club seems like the most work for the least money.
Yeah.
So if you're out there doing it, I'm like, God bless you, because you probably don't have to. I'm sure there's an OnlyFans side hustle. It's not either or. But just to go in there and do the work, IRL, instead of just on camera in your den.
I will say, though, out of the two, OnlyFans or stripping, if I had the option, I would probably do stripping because it's like frowned upon. Not to say that people don't record you in a strip club, but like once you do your dance, you're done. Like people may remember you, but they have no proof of it. OnlyFans, people will screenshot you, people will screen record you. Like it's out there
that's why
forever.
you make so much more money. I mean, if you're a stripper in a club, some dude can follow you home or...
Yeah, but they have bouncers. Like that. Stripping has been around forever.
Right, but the
so
bouncer doesn't go home with you. He makes sure that you get to your car safely.
No, pack heat.
If you're lucky, huh? Well, a lot of them do.
You think they can't do that with OnlyFans? You think they can't like track
Pack
you that
heat?
way?
Ooh. Yeah, they can. I know. I'm just saying it's probably harder that way than if you're physically in front of someone who takes a shine to you. He's sweet on you all of a sudden.
I gave you a lot of money now. You know I'm thirsty.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Catalina.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey. Yes, hello.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a transgender prostitute for like the past 7 years. I've worked in strip clubs. I got arrested twice in the same week a couple of years ago. I don't know. I thought I'd call into the show.
So you strip in a club, and then
I've been a prostitute for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I worked at a strip club for about a year in Akron.
Was this all after you transitioned?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were so before that, you're like, well, I don't really have a hook. After that, you kind of got a hook.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I always wanted to be into like sex work for like ever since I was like a teenager, and I don't know, it sounded like fun, especially when like someone introduced me to doing it. It's fucking easy. Like,
dude,
you just
thank you.
Gotta
yeah, I don't want to. Bill, we can't misgender after dropping an F-bomb. What are you thinking? Hello, Bill. What's going on?
Hey, I got some pictures that you guys might like.
I'll be the judge of that.
That's cool. Can I send you a picture or two, and then I will be the judge?
As long as they're not of your beehole, Bill. Based on the kind of calls I've been getting today, I gotta.
You guys had a party, a bikini party. Probably, back of these pictures look like maybe 10 years, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And these people, a lot of them ain't got much clothes on because it was looked like a bikini party you guys had.
Yeah.
And it's got the big MMS in the back and everything,
Yeah, sure.
And,
send them. I mean, that's before my time, so I couldn't care less. But feel free to forward them, Bill.
You know what? I'm gonna forward it one, maybe two, and then I got a pile of them here, and then we're gonna talk some business.
We're not going to buy them. We don't care.
Well, I'm not going to buy them, Bill. What's the business?
You don't want me to put these all over the internet.
Whoa, I see. Yes, I do. Yes, thank you.
Huh?
And that'll be a good way to get paid. Put them all over the internet.
You might want me to, but I'm not going to do that, Rob. I mean, I found them, and they were in the garbage, from a long time ago, and I just held on to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through some junk because I'm getting a little old myself, I just turned 86. So,
Bill, I know who Bill is. Okay, thank you, Bill.
I'm going to change the subject now.
Right, okay. Thank you. I'm going to take a break here. If you want to get a text in, 35192, I will have those Guardians tickets for you on the way back as promised. The third in the home series here against the White Sox in a couple of weeks. We'll put you at that afternoon game on the 24th, you and three pals, if you want to go. AlanCoxShow.com. All the other stuff you can watch live there, and we'll be back.
It's the Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app. Rover's Morning Glory.
I like news stories where the serious anchor has to talk about something strange. Here's one where a guy beat up his girlfriend.